Hi there, welcome back to another Crypto Dave video. It's Friday, which means another crypto interest rates and news update. Today's the 2nd of October 2020, and just a brief update today. I'm a little bit pushed for time, so just wanted to do a brief update. And starting as always with our crypto interest rates. No new coins or anything like that to notify people of this week, but the big news is BlockFi increasing their percentage from 4.5 to 5.25 on Ethereum. We'll talk about that more in a couple of minutes, but no big changes that I've noticed across the other platforms. As always, if you do see any errors, cryptodaveuk@gmail.com, or leave a comment on this video and I'll try and address those as soon as possible. As always, a link to this Google Sheet will be in the description below, and I do try and keep it as up to date as possible. So if you check back regularly, I do try and kind of get all the kind of rate increases and new coins and stuff like that onto this or into the sheet as soon as possible. But moving over to the token prices, so another really good week for Celsius. Now, this last 24 hours, or probably last 12 hours or so, we've seen a big drop in the markets in general. You can see this in the 24-hour price, but over the last 7 days, Celsius network up 18.8%. Really big increases. It was up substantially higher than that, obviously, before it dropped this 10% in the last 24 hours. It's up almost 30%. So that's a really nice increase for Celsius network as well. It's been really strong over the last few weeks. Currently trading at $1. I think it went up to about 1.06 at its kind of peak before drawing down. And also nice to see Nexo having a strong week, up 8% over the last 7 days. Cryptocom continues to perform relatively kind of poorly, down just under 5% over the last 7 days. I did say about a month ago or so that I didn't see the big increases in the price of Crypto.com, their CRO token, carrying on, that I thought maybe it would kind of flatten out. And that seems to be the kind of case. I think they've actually lost a little bit of money over the last 30 days in kind of token prices. Now, they are doing more and more things. They're constantly kind of launching things to try and keep people locked up in their kind of CRO tokens. But I think there's been a bit of bad news around kind of Crypto.com. Obviously, they had the mess up with the trading price of Ethereum, which we covered kind of last week. The app down, the exchange down for several days last week because of those kind of errors, and they had to ended up having to roll back transactions to pre the error kind of going live. So they had that. There was a lot of controversy about the MCO to CRO, the forcing MCO holders to transition over to, or to swap over to CRO. And I could see potentially the price of CRO maybe just flatline. I thought it might kind of flatline, but I think even in a kind of bull market, I don't think it's going to be going up substantially. I think they're constantly trying to find ways to keep people kind of holding the token, and I think they're starting to struggle now, which is a little bit kind of disappointing. But we'll see what kind of happens. They've got the new superchargers and stuff like that, but I think some of that will be taken over from the kind of syndicate. The supercharger obviously is forcing people to lock up their CRO for longer periods, 30 days often at a time, for the kind of like charging period. So we'll see what happens to the kind of coin. It's certainly not a coin I would be looking to kind of buy at the moment. Anyway, on to a little bit of news. As we mentioned before, the price of Ethereum, or the interest rate rather, on Ethereum going up. So this is now live. It's the 2nd of October today, but as of yesterday, the interest rates on Ethereum from 4.5% to 5.25%. Now, obviously, last week we talked about the price increases on Celsius network, which is substantially higher than this. Still, this is up to 5.25, and this is undoubtedly in response to the increase in prices on Celsius. I imagine that they have had a number of people moving Ethereum out of their kind of platform and over to kind of Celsius, and I think this is probably trying to kind of mitigate that kind of risk. You still get greater percentage on Celsius than you do on kind of BlockFi, but nice to see the increase, another 0.75 on top of what it was before, and no tiers for Ethereum now, which is nice to see. Disappointing that they haven't rode back on the lower tiers for Bitcoin. Only 2.5 Bitcoin at that flagship 6% kind of rate, but nice to see an increase in Ethereum. I had planned to move a big chunk of my Ethereum away from kind of BlockFi and onto Celsius, and I think with this increase I probably won't move quite as much over. I have whitelisting enabled, obviously, in kind of BlockFi, so it takes 7 days to put a new kind of address in and stuff like that. But I think this will probably mitigate some of the kind of losses that they may have been kind of seeing with kind of Celsius, people moving their Ethereum to Celsius. So it's nice to see them increasing. This kind of tit for tat that we see a lot between kind of BlockFi and Celsius, and we used to see it maybe more on the kind of Celsius side. Whenever BlockFi increased the kind of rate, Celsius would increase theirs to the same or a fraction more. But it's interesting to see kind of BlockFi doing this at the moment, so increasing their kind of rates from 4.5 to 5.25. I think it's too coincidental to be anything but a response to the Celsius kind of increases of last week. And then moving on to the Crypto.com, their supercharger, which we mentioned last week, that's now live, went live 3 days ago. Now I did do a full video, you can find that on the channel, of how to participate in this. You need to be an exchange user, and you can do that. I did a whole kind of walkthrough of how it kind of works, but this is now live, and we're in this kind of initial charging period. It will run for 30 days, and then you get rewarded, you get paid out every day based on the percentage of the total kind of share that you had within this charging period. And I believe they work out the percentage that you have on an hourly basis during the charging period. Now, different to some of the other things with CRO is that although you are locking up your CRO, you can withdraw and then deposit more, or withdraw at any time during that 30-day period. So there's no actual kind of tie-ups. It's not like you're locking in for an interest period on Earn, or whether you're locking up and staking on the exchange. So you can move your CRO in and out, but I will leave mine in for 30 days, and then I'll be doing a follow-up video regarding this, working out whether it was worthwhile, etc, etc. But $500,000 of Uniswap token available for this initial supercharger event. So that's now live. And then moving on to Flamingo Finance. Now I mentioned this again last week. I did a video on this, how to get involved in this. This is the new DeFi kind of platform built upon Neo, and they obviously had issues with their launch. They launched a day late in the end, and the initial mint rush was over, but then they announced that there would be a mint rush 2. Now the speed of emission of Flamingo tokens during this mint rush 2 is not as high as in the first one, but it will run till between the 3rd and the 5th of October. So it's only the 2nd of October now, so you've got at least one more day, probably 3 days. I think it might well run till the 5th. So you have 3 days. If you didn't get involved in the first one, you can still wrap and stake your Neo. And if you have been participating, you can actually stake the Flamingo that you've already earned back into the kind of platform to sort of like compound those kind of gains up. So that's live, be live for another at least 1 day, but probably 3 days. So if you missed out first time round, you can jump on it still. The price of Flamingo is decreasing actually. If you'd got your tokens out really early, as soon as you were able to withdraw and sold them, you could have bought back probably half the price now. But if you are interested in getting your kind of like Flamingo tokens, you can still participate, but not at the same speed as the initial mint rush. And then finally, Nexo, they announced this week they're an official credit partner to the Litecoin Foundation. Now, looking a little bit more detail into this, it doesn't seem to be really anything more than sort of like a kind of marketing kind of effort, where I presume Nexo services will be marketed to the Litecoin people sign up to Litecoin Foundation, or people subscribing to them, etc, etc. So this is basically the kind of earning interest on your kind of Litecoin, and also using Litecoin to back a crypto loan on kind of Nexo. But it's nice to see Nexo kind of reaching out to different platforms and different coins in order to kind of like get the word out a little bit more. I think they've previously done kind of like tie-ups with Chainlink and Tron and stuff like that. So nice to see them partnering with someone. As I said, it doesn't seem to be much more than just a sort of like co-marketing thing at the moment. But if anything else kind of comes of it, or you know anything else that they're kind of doing together, do let me know, and I'll cover that in a future video. So that's it for this week. As I said, just a brief update this week. Good news on BlockFi increasing the Ethereum rates. I have Ethereum actually locked in kind of BlockFi, so that will be very nice going forward, seeing some more interest on those. Thanks very much for watching. As always, if you could give me a thumbs up, that would be fantastic. It really helps other people find the channel, really helps with the YouTube algorithm. But until the next video, which hopefully I'll see you on, have a great day, keep safe and well, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.